Hello, I completely cannot hear.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you all. So there are about 20, we all, 20 over the holidays class. Uh, let's look at the any questions you have about your project paper first. You want to share anything uh, about your project paper? Hmm. Well, let me get my thing. Okay. Oh, about 24 of you all already. Uh, Share your ideas, anything? I hope you are looking at the website, which has the structure of the project paper. Uh, Questions? Anything you want to share your project? When you talk about your, any of you have got any ideas, a broad idea of what you want to do? I think our convocation is going to be in most likely in October now, because then you still got time to submit your project paper, and if you have cleared all the other papers, then you should be able to graduate this year. So try your best to get it in as early as you can as your project paper. So website again. Okay, you're not sure. It's Valmiki. You just type this HTTPS. You just type Valmiki Academy. It comes up in Google. Quite lucky because academy.com. PALK. Valmiki. Okay, yeah, that's it. And you check underneath, you scroll down, because this website is, I've done it for the PhD students in particular, for PhD, and I got quite a lot of hits on this website. Uh, you scroll down, you'll come to the one doing your project, doing or writing the project paper. See writing? I think at the bottom there, writing the project paper. So take the course, you see, you click on it, you'll see all the topics there. And I've given you samples of even uh, words to use also in English. You know, there are, or this one I didn't. If you if you do go back to my PhD one, you look at it. I follow chapter by chapter. If you go back to my PhD, you try writing the thesis, same also. And here, obviously, for the PhD, I've gone into detail. And if you look under that, and if you look under methodology, there is a last section. I've given you a website which I took from a professor in Manchester, University of Manchester. He has got this academic phrase book. Very interesting. Like for example, chapter 3, the methodology. What kind of words you want to use? Click on it, and you will see. It's in English though, but you can, if you're using in Bahasa also, you can just translate. Very nice. He gives you phrases to use. For example, the characteristics of the sample. He give you some phrases, how to use, what kind of words. Yeah, the sample was divided into two groups, a random sample. These are like your beginning sentences of your writing, you know. Very nicely done. He's given you a lot of words in English. The project used a convenient sampling. All study participants were recruited, dash, dash, dash. So he gives you all the phrases, how to describe your sampling. Okay. What kind of sentences to use, phrases to use. I think is remarkable. Is I think you can even download. I don't know if you can download the whole thing. Very, very good. Each chapter, he he has a set of words and phrases. He calls it the phrase bank. Dr. Morley is a great guy. This is the kind of things we want people to do. I wish somebody could do it in Bahasa Melayu. It would be very, very nice. Okay. Okay, any questions so far? If not, okay, then I guess you all are quite clear what you want to do. You can share. This I just want to go back to chapter 3, and chapter 3 is a methodology. I I find students making this particular mistake. Uh, you said, have you received the PowerPoint slides project paper sent a week ago? I sent to project. I checked in project. I didn't see a week ago. The last I checked was about 5, maybe not. I check. Okay, I'll check it out. Grace Lim, you're asking about. Uh, was it your project? Is it you want to discuss? Is it your description of project? Is it if you my draft, your draft? Okay, okay. I didn't get a chance to look at it. Uh, you can send it to my email if you want to send. I go there, you check. You can okay. I'll check it out and give it to you. Send. Don't send by PowerPoint. Just send by Word. Easier to open. PowerPoint I find it very difficult. Just send by Word or PDF and all that. Okay, it's a PDF. Good. Okay, I'll check it out. I know I haven't checked it on PowerPoint on the project email. You can send it to my email also. Okay. Uh, I think you know my email, john.arul, ARUL at au.edu.my. You can send it to me. No, this is my email. Okay, this. Okay, this is my email. Just send it to me a second. Now, the thing about the methodology chapter, the third chapter of your report, this is you describe what you did. It is in the past tense. Okay, don't write in such a way that what you plan to do. That's one. Number two, when I look at the section under sampling, don't talk about. Everybody seems to quote that guy named Krajcik, I think his name, how a formula for sampling and all that. Don't talk about uh, how to do sampling. Don't give, many of you all tend to give a mini lecture there inside there. What is sampling? Sampling is for this, sampling is that. No need for that. Just when someone reads it, tell me straight away who are your sampling, who are your subjects, how many of them, how did you get the sample, the characteristics of your sample, that kind of thing. You see, if you look at my website, it said, describe how you obtain the sample. Why do you choose this particular sample? How did you determine size of sample? Describe the characteristics of the sample. Okay, and then discuss protection of human subject. I mean, the ethics of it. How do you maintain confidentiality and all that? That's all. Don't quote anybody here. Chapter 3, there is practically no quoting from anybody. Don't tell me about the sampling formula. This, I get the impression you are trying to pad it, make it long. You don't have much words to write here. Actually, you check, and you're wasting. That's why the mm, quite a number of students, their project will become very long. They're giving a lecture on sampling. Nobody asks you to get on straight. This whole chapter is yours, nothing to do with anybody else. Okay, and all your own words. How did you collect? Yeah, 3,000 words. It's not much. Don't waste your time telling me what is sampling, what is cluster sampling, what is stratified. No need, no need, no need. Just tell me I got this sample. This is the sample consists of preschool children. Full stop. The sample consists of year 3 students in primary school. The sample consists of teachers, 100 teachers in the district of Tampin or something. Get on with it. Okay? Don't tell anything else. Wasting time. Tell a little bit about the students. What character, who are they? What little bit about the background of the student. Okay? That's it. You follow exactly my website. What sort of subsubjects should be included in the methodology? Methodology is you just do a small introduction, and then research design, you say you're going to use a survey, you're going to use an experiment. That's all. 1 or 2 lines. Then the data collection techniques, you're going to use a questionnaire. Describe the questionnaire. Okay? If you're using a test, explain the test. If you're using an attitude scale, explain the attitude scale. Okay? If you're doing a questionnaire for measuring perception, talk about it. That's all. Data collection. Okay? The data collection method. Talk about the questionnaire, the checklist. You're going to interview people. What is the characteristics of your checklist? How many items in it? How are the students going to answer your question? All that talk on the data collection or instrumentation, you can put it together. Then talk about your sample. If you want, you can put a sample a second. Straight away go to the sample. Introduction, short introduction. I plan to do a survey. I plan to do an experiment. Not plan. This study was based on a survey, on a questionnaire. Okay, 3,000 words is not much. So focus on that. Directly into it. Don't tell anything about what is a sampling and that. Everybody quotes that guy. I don't know, you all are quoting from somebody else. I don't know why that guy has a formula, it seems. That one is meant for big projects, like you are doing for the whole country. So you use the formula of the guy to get the samplings. Okay, Perak, how many people I want to take. Selangor, how many people I want to take. That formula is for that, more. Yours is a small study. Okay, if you are doing, say, your study is based on 3 autistic children, case study. Talk about the sample. Who is that autistic child? A little bit of his background. Don't give the name, okay? The severity of his autism, that kind of thing. Okay, so your research design will be an interview. Okay, data collection, a qualitative study based on an interview or maybe observation. Observes how he behaves, or maybe you will interview him if he can communicate with you. If you interview his parents, maybe his teachers. Example. That is what I want to know. Okay, how do you collect the data? Okay, I got an interview schedule. Talk about that interview schedule. That's all. And the sample, you know very well, is 3 children who are autistic children or something like that. So it's only 3,000 words. Get to the point. Okay, you really waste a lot of your energy talking about unnecessary things all outside there. Because whenever anybody wants to read straight away chapter 3, he jumps in. The most he's interested is how you're going to collect the data to answer the research questions in chapter 1. Number 2, who is your sample? Okay, how did you choose them? How did you get to the school? What kind of permission did you get? Did you ask the parents for all that? Put it here in chapter 3. Okay? So follow closely the handbook and follow closely my website. That's chapter 3. So please avoid writing superfluous words, not connected to the topic. Here, practically, you don't quote anybody. It's all yours. What is that to quote? Nothing to quote. The quoting and all that should be done in chapter 2. Okay? Straight away get to the point and then describe your instrument a little bit. And then the details, put in the appendix. So here you'll have appendix of your instrument, whatever you want. Okay? So that's chapter 3. Any questions on chapter 3? Okay, now you go to, after you've done that, chapter 4 is also your own words. No quotation here. You're not nothing to quote. You're just telling a story of what you collected, the data you collected, and how you're answering the research question. The key is answering the research question. Remember that. Okay, you can bring back the research questions here. You can make them your subheadings in a way. So you start off with a little introduction, little bit about, you look at it, what is this study about, and then you start with your research question. So what I've given in the website is how to, the tables. You got tables, describe the tables. Don't put the tables in the, I've got student, suddenly I look at their research question, chapter 4, only 2 pages, 3 pages. Then I wonder why. You got 3 research questions to answer and you got 2 pages. Then I found out all the tables were put in the appendix. That's wrong. The tables should be here. So I think two project papers, I sent it back to the student. Bring all your tables to the chapter 4. Unless you got so much data, you don't want to put too much, then you can put the balance in chapter 4. Say, for example, you got notes, you qualitative research, you interview, you copied a lot of notes and all that. Keep all those notes. That one you can put in the appendix, the notes. But what you the coded data, the data you extracted from your notes, like keywords, certain phrases, the categories, the themes, which answer your research question. Say I go back to the autistic child. The autistic child did certain things. Then you observe the child doing it. That the child said such thing. You want to put phrases. They are called verbatim quotes. Okay, you put in the quotes, what the child said, what the mother said, what the father said, or what the teacher said, quotes to support it. Okay, that is for research. For the quantitative, if you're doing quantitative, you got tables. The 2 things must have tables. And the other thing, if you can, graphs. These are the most common data presentation tools. They're called descriptive statistics. So when you do a table, maybe if you did an experiment, you will have the mean and standard deviation here. So you look at my website to see how to report the mean. For example, this is APA method, American Psychological Association, their guidelines. You want to report, what is that? Significant difference between control group, experimental group. Significant difference between male and female. The mean is different. So how do you report it? It's written there. I think the best is the people have found it most effective. Bring back the research questions here, put the research question and answer the research question. Don't quote anything. This is another section. It's all yours. Okay? It's all yours because No reason to quote. There's no reason to quote anything. It's your data. You're telling the reader, this is my research question. Now, this is what I found from my questionnaire. This is what I found from my interview. This is what I found from my observation. Okay? So, this is what I found from my experiment. And I had a experiment. This is what I found from my experiment. Okay, I was going to test the effectiveness of teaching method, the effectiveness of a particular counseling strategy, the effectiveness of what is it? Just now I was talking training method in physical education for endurance, for stamina, that kind of thing. So you want to use experimental method. Okay, so this is where you tell the okay. So focus on that. 3,000 words. Remember, most of you will exceed. Can go to can go on because many of you collect a lot of data. So sometimes you find that 3,000 words not enough to write. Then it's okay, good. Please go ahead and exceed because you got data. You are not rambling, That's why we restrict the words to avoid you rambling. Then you put all sorts of things not related, quoting here, quoting there. What for you quote? What for you cite? Anybody? Not yet. That one you can do in chapter 5. Okay? Chapter 5 you could. I'll explain later. So here is purely raw, your work. All the raw data you talk about, you put here. And please arrange the tables properly. Okay? Follow a certain nice, make it look good. The tables are very important because sometimes you do messy tables, you irritate the reader. The reader gets unhappy about it, the table. So most of the studies, readers like chapter 4. They want to see chapter 4 especially. Actually, most of them want to read chapter 1, it's your research question, and they'll jump to chapter 4. Maybe chapter 3 to see your methodology, okay, how you collect a little bit. But 1 and 4, they want to see. Make sure 1 and 4 are aligned. The research questions you put in 1 must be the research questions you're going to answer in 4. Okay, we said, is it necessary to send a video? No need video. No need video or audio. It's all, usually thesis, we haven't reached that stage. Maybe later we will ask audio, but usually it's print based. Okay, print based. A little bit because I'm new student. The 3,000 words is for the what are you answering? I don't know what you mean, Jacqueline. Assignment is not an assignment. It's a project paper here. Are you in the right class for project paper? Project paper, you follow the template, the handbook, and you follow my website. Somebody asked, my website there is there. Somebody has given the website. Okay, share the website there. Okay, the website is there. The words breakdown just now is for the 5 topics. The 5 chapters. Those words are rough. Please don't hold them, because if you have to exceed, please do, but don't exceed with junk, unnecessary information. Okay, like chapter 4, you got many of you collect a lot of data, so please go ahead and report. Actually, chapter 4 should have a lot. Okay. Oh no, you're in the wrong class. That was done this morning. Morning was ESM 641. Jacqueline. There is a recording. You can check out the recording. Okay. There's a recording you can read on the MyPLS. It's just done this one. This is for project paper dose. Okay, it's all right. Check it out. Okay, any questions about chapter 4? Make the tables look nice. Okay, if they are very long tables, see how you break up the tables, and at the end, make sure the tables have a very good title. Okay, figure 1. Usually we go by 4. This chapter 4, figure 4.1 for graph. Table 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, like that. Okay, you follow the method by the APA, American Psychological Association, and yeah, and make your table as neat as possible. You don't need colors in your table, but make it nice, like you would do for a research report. The table must be clear. You must have a tight table. If you do the table, if you are reporting standard mean, put the top there mean, then standard deviation, then you put male, female, then you put the mean, standard deviation, then mean you decide. Usually it is 2 decimal points. So 30.44. Okay, don't exceed more than that. 44 or 2.78, like that. So usually 2 decimal points. I think it's all in my website. And then you can, at the end of the chapter, you can kind of summarize this thing, but not necessarily a short subsection. Where at the end of the chapter, you should summarize the answers to the research question. A very short section, summarize. Then you go to chapter 5. Now look at the video clips there. Very good video clips. Is that your finding? Does it work? That doesn't work. The first video clip doesn't work. The second one? The second. Very nicely done. Data and results section. Okay, gives you a very nice, this is a very good video explaining. Please support writing the results, or they even have the literature. So see how to write the results section. Okay, this is the result, how to analyze, and chapter 4, this one actually, how to analyze your data and write the analysis. There are many words used for this. Like some people put the word results, some say analysis of data, some say here, I think we just call it analysis of data and results, or just call it results, so enough. Okay, that doesn't matter. But what's important is that, you see, when that word analysis of data, it means you collected data, that data is raw data. Okay, you gave a questionnaire. Say you gave a questionnaire on a 5-point Likert scale. Agree, strongly agree, that kind of things, That's then the student, the respondent marked it. That's a raw data. Now, analysis of data means you analyze the data, you put the data together. So you got 100 respondents. 100 students responded to your questionnaire. Your questionnaire has got 20 items, 20 questions. So from there, maybe you group the questions. Maybe out of the 20 questions, 5 questions measure something. The other 5 questions measure something else. The other question measures something else. So you got 4 constructs. 4 constructs or dimensions in that questionnaire. Okay, each got 5 questions. So when you're analyzing, that's the meaning of analysis of data. You're converting it to mean, you're converting it to standard deviation, you're converting it to percentages, frequency counts. Then later you might do the t-test to compare. You might use an ANOVA, one-way ANOVA, to compare maybe 3 groups. That process you're doing is called analysis of data. Okay, so if you are doing qualitative, you collected a lot of observations of that child, for example. Now you're trying to make sense of it. Can you see patterns? Can you see themes running through your data? When you extract the themes and extract the categories, that is analysis of data. That's why this chapter is called analysis of data or results. And results again. That means you're telling the reader, this is what I got. Align with the research question. Okay, say your research question is to find, is there a difference between male and female in terms of their attitude towards XYZ something? If that's your research question, that means I want to see a table showing male and female, their mean or percentages, and their score. So that we have a score from your questionnaire, then you can see, oh, male 30.2, female 27.3. Then you see, then you make it into a table, then you say you're answering the research question, the males are more than the female or something like that. Then you test, is this significant or not significant? Maybe you use the t-test. That means the male have a more positive attitude towards something. Okay, so this is how you report in chapter 4. Any questions? Chapter 4? Wow, the numbers are nearly 28 of y'all, 29, 28 of y'all here. 27. Okay. Okay. And another thing, don't give your opinion here yet. Okay. I said that avoid citations. Okay. Presentation should be consistent with the research questions you put in chapter 1. Do not evaluate, do not give your opinion yet. That will be done in chapter 5. Okay. And you must write in the past tense, the data you collected. So all the thing, I said restate the research question here. Okay. There, for example, in my website, I said, you're studying leadership styles, for example. Okay. You're studying leadership styles. So one of your research question, is there a significant difference in leadership style between male and female leaders, say in education? Here I put the banking sector. Okay, just put in secondary school. Okay, so you put the research question, you answer it. Sometimes some people don't like to put the research question. They make that research question in the form of a subheading, like a statement. If you look at it, I put there gender and leadership style in the banking sector. Because there I'm looking at, I just gave an example. So gender and leadership style in secondary school. Secondary school in international school, for example. You can make it into a statement. You can make that into a subheading and you answer the question. Okay, the key word is to answer. Hopefully your data will answer the research question. So be very careful of your research question, what you did in chapter 1. Okay, the APA guidelines I've given you there, how to report the p-value. P-value is a probability value. Remember, in education, we set the p-value at 0.05. Okay, 0.05, which means simply is that you will allow 5% of your thing that is due to chance. That means the difference between male and female, say male got 30.2, female got 28.3. Okay, then you say, oh, male did better than female. No, you cannot. Just because they got 30 something, you got 28 here. So you have to use test for statistical significance. That means you use the t-test, for example, test whether this difference is it due to chance or is a real difference. That's where the 0.05 comes in. So you give 5% due to chance. Okay? So 95% is real. It is a real difference. So if you score, if after you use the either Excel or use SPSS, I think those who don't know what SPSS is, I told the other club, is stands for Statistical Package for the Social Sciences. It's a software tool for analyzing data. You can use Excel also, and there are other tools like SAS and so on and so forth. Okay, there are quite a few. Now, then say you got your p value came out 0.04, it means it is significant. Anything must be 0.05 lower than 0.05. Okay, lower than 0.05. Okay, you get lower than point, you can get 0.048 or something, is significant. The moment it exceeds 0.05, it's not significant. That means the difference of marks, one got 30, the other one 28, the difference is due to chance. That means it's different. You know, in schools, what we do, sometimes a child gets 2 marks extra, he gets higher than the other guy. Actually, it is statistically may not be significant. So in actual, theoretically, these two students are equally good. Okay, one guy gets 97, one guy gets 95 out of 100, and you say the guy 97 is better than 95. No. If you do statistics, if you analyze it statistically, 97 and 95 may be not significantly different. So in theory, these two students are equal. You try and see with your class, you'll find that many cases, you might give him number 1 spot because he got 97. This fellow 95, you give him number 2. By right, they both are number 1. They're equally good. Statistical difference. But we take the raw scores, which is, so this, when you use statistics, that's it. That's why when you hear a lot of information on the internet about claiming this, claiming that, you must we must develop the skill of questioning. We always ask, who's your sample? Was the difference significant? Just because the results came out, this group said 75%. The other group, 73%. Oh, group A are more positive towards things than group B. No, the 75% versus 73% may be due to chance. In actual fact, statistically, they are not different. So that means the opinions of these two groups is the same. So these are the things where statistics come in to prove, to tell the truth, In a way, it's the truth. Because the two groups are actually different, but you just take the raw scores and then you tell everybody, oh, A is more negative, more positive than B. Actually, they are similar. So this is where you must be very careful when you do research in this chapter 4. Statistical significance is very important in research, quantitative research, especially when you're comparing groups, comparing human beings, two groups, and then you're comparing them on a dependent variable. For example, whether it be attitude, self-esteem, self-efficacy, What else? All those psychometric, the psychological tests. It could be personality. So many things we measure. The human being, we have lots of these characteristics we measure. We borrow from psychology. Okay, psychologists are the guys who measure us as human beings, measure our attitudes, measure our perceptions. Like now the elections are coming in Johor, for example. Some of these research houses now will be asking, who do you think will win? Okay, so it's measuring opinion. Okay, which party will win? That's measuring opinion. It or maybe perception, opinion, views, feelings. Okay, so children will say party A. I mean the voters party A, and another guy will choose party B. Another one. Now we got so many in competing for seats. It's mind-boggling. You might have 5 or 6 fellas fighting for one seat. So one area. So you can ask people, which is your preference. Then you go deeper and say why you choose party A, or why do you choose candidate A, candidate B, candidate C, and all that. So people do research on those kind of things. There are a few research houses in Malaysia who what is your reason for preference for A? And then you probe. Usually they'll probe in the form of qualitatively interviewing the persons, or they may even ask through a questionnaire. So, any questions on chapter 4? How to do chapter 4? You see, I've given there also on qualitative. Qualitative, the difference is that in quantitative research, your unit of analysis in numbers, like what I said just now, 30.4 males, 50 males, high ability students, what is their score, low ability student, what's their score, attitudes. Say you want to study attitude towards English language. So among low ability, who is more positive towards the English language? Is it high ability student or low ability student? Is it the so-called rural students or the urban students? That kind of thing. All these is numbers. So for broad, we have a broad name for it. It's quantitative. Your unit is numbered. Now, qualitative, we don't use as much numbers. We use words. Words is your data. Here, numbers is your data. Words. So how do you collect these words? You observe, you keep what do you call field notes. Okay, you write down what you observe. Okay, what did the child do in the playground? The child went there. Child B did this. Child C did this. Child D did this. All you write down. Then there's another way of collecting data is by interview. You interview, talk to them. Okay, and usually in qualitative, your questions are very broad. You're open-ended. So you write down, and you also have a tape record. You may tape the thing. Put your handphone there. Maybe you tape the conversation. When you go back, you transcribe the conversation you had with this person, and then from there you transcribe and put it in a piece of paper. You pick out the themes. Same thing these guys are saying. A said something, B said something, C said something. So there's a pattern in A, B, C about an issue. Okay? Just say, for example, going back to the election, you say, why do you choose candidate A? You ask a certain particular candidate. You ask A will give one reason. Interview. B gives one reason. C gives a reason. D gives, you can go on and on. After you collected, say, about 10 people, then you'll see a pattern running through. Okay, this is qualitative. You see a pattern running through. There seems to be a theme. a theme, a category, a theme. So you extract that theme. So out of the 10 people I interviewed, their top reason was this one. The second reason was this one. That will be in the form of words. Number one, maybe that person has high integrity, the candidate. So all the 10 mention about integrity in different ways. They use different words, but basically they are talking about integrity. One guy said, "Oh, he's a good guy. He doesn't accept bribes." Okay, he's a simple guy. He drives an old car. He meets people. He goes down and meets people. That kind of thing. So it could be integrity. It could be humility. You know, people's views about a political candidate. So there's a theme running through. Now all that is words. You know, you don't report the numbers. Okay, you're interested in the themes. So that themes is called, you report the theme. To support the themes, you take out exact words which the person said. Say A said, A described integrity in this way. Now the way the words he said is called a verbatim quote. Now you look at my website, it will tell you the verbatim quote. For example, um, I feel better and more confident among my colleagues who are degree holders. Okay, okay, that's exact words. So to support, I think the theme is adult learners' opinions on doing a bachelor's degree. Oh, you're asking them, why are you doing a bachelor's degree? Adults doing a bachelor's degree. I mean, these people don't have. That is your research question, maybe. Why do adult learners at a later age come and do a bachelor degree? These are the one said, a 40-year-old lady said, my self-esteem got better. Okay, now I'm able to talk with all kinds of people more bravely because of a degree. Here, okay, I'm proud of myself that I can do this and so on and talk with others in my office. So how by doing a degree or getting a degree affects adult learners. Okay, so these are all the reasons. So this is all verbatim quotes. To support the theme is adult learners doing a degree. Reasons. So your question, research question, what are the reasons for adult learners doing a bachelor's degree later in their life or later in their career? Something like that. That's your research question. So there you see, these are all, that's all data, you know, what they said. I'm proud of myself. My self-esteem got better. All those, that is data, but it's in the form of words. Okay. So maybe the theme, running one theme will be, it helps my self-esteem, one theme. How do they express themselves? There they are. I feel better. I can talk people more bravely. So that is meaning a better self-esteem. So that is the raw data, so to speak. And the theme is the thing you extracted from the raw data. So that is qualitative research. So how you report it is this one. Maybe how the mother said something, the father said something, the headmaster said something. Maybe you're studying how did the headmaster manage the school during the COVID. Okay, what are the challenges he faced? You did an interview. Maybe you have 3 headmasters. You interviewed them. How did you handle this? What are the challenges you face? You can do that. So purely interview. Okay. Somebody asked. So when doing statistic, is it necessary to do analysis items for each question? Uh, I think for the project paper, it's okay. You you I don't insist on a pilot test and all that. By that, you should pilot your test instrument if you can. Try it with a few people and then see the items which are not doing well. Usually, more important is that the items they cannot understand, that kind of thing. If you want to do Chromebook Alpha, you can do that. Use Chromebook Alpha to see which are the items not good enough, not measuring what you're supposed. The You look at the internal the correlation coefficient, the internal consistency. You see, Chromebook Alpha is simply you have a construct, say attitude towards say uh, smoking vape, for example, vape smoking against cigarettes, something attitude. Okay, so each of okay, you ask 5 questions. You want to see that every question is measuring the construct attitude towards vape. Is it vape? You call it vape, vape, using vape. So attitude towards that. Is it a positive or negative attitude or something like that? Or maybe take a something simpler attitude towards something. All of them are measuring that construct. So that's why the higher the inter item correlation, the better. Each item correlating with the construct. Okay, the higher it is, the better. So that is sometimes you get inverse. Inverse, you must throw it out usually. When it gets a minus, that means it is not measuring the construct. Okay, the variable. So yeah. I leave it to you. You can if you want to do it for analysis for each question. But usually it's okay because it's a small project here. If once you're happy with the instrument, do a small pilot test study. See the question is not too difficult. There is no culture biasness. If you're taking an instrument from another country, American context or something, be careful that the items don't hurt people. They are easily understood by the local people. You know, the terminologies they use. Like I told the other class just now, in American context, football, they're talking about their football. We have our own football. We have football. The word football is used for both soccer and the American football. The Australians call it footy. They don't call it football. They call it footy. So that kind of things. Questions? Chapter 4. You want to anybody want to share his study, his or her study? Anything? Before I go to chapter 5. How come nobody is talking about their project? The last class, you had so much to talk about your project. Any issues you're facing? Any problems? You want to go on the air, you can go. Only 20, 28 of you or 26 of you. You can come on the air live. Anybody? Your names are all here. I can't, a few names I can see. Okay? Nothing. Okay, then let me go to chapter 5. Now, chapter 5, it's a kind of open to you. It's very flexible. The key word is you start off with a brief summary of what you found in chapter 4, very, very briefly. Okay? What emerged? Give it it's a summary of your findings. Okay, what you did in chapter 4. Then you start discussing. This is where you're quite free to do. The meaning of discussion is to tell the reader why you think you got that data. Okay? If, for example, for some reason, the girls were more positive towards something compared to the boys, why do you think it is? This is where you can speculate. Give your reasons. You can speculate, but be careful. Don't go overboard. Okay? Maybe this is where you bring in studies to support you. For example, you found males, girls were more positive towards, let's say, mathematics compared to boys. Okay, you found that out. Then look at some studies. Okay, maybe the studies can come from chapter 2, which you had quoted there, or other studies. Then you can say, this is very much in line with so and so study. You can put a list of 3, 4 people there. They all found that the girls had a more positive attitude towards mathematics compared to the boys, or towards computers, towards robotics, or towards studying artificial intelligence, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, then you bring now you bring say Anderson also found his study similar in Australia. Then somebody else, Robert, found this in Canada. So you can go on like that. Okay, or even Malaysia. Somebody Lim found that in his study in Kelantan or something like that, found that. So you support this, your finding. So this one you can bring other studies. You bring other studies to support it, or it can be the other way around. You found positive attitude. The other guys found the other way around. The boys were more positive. Also, you can bring it. Okay. They found that the boys were more inclined towards this compared to the girls. But you found the girls are. That's good. That's a contribution towards, you're contributing towards the literature, contributing towards research. You're finding in a small town, maybe in Malaysia, in a small setting in Malaysia. Then it could be maybe cultural or something like that. And it might be so interesting that the Malaysian girls are more positive maybe than the Australian girls, or maybe the Canadian girls, for example. Oh, that's interesting. You're more positive than the Western society, which we always think for them, the girls are quite positive, something like that. Because they always complain till today that not enough girls are going into artificial intelligence, into robotics, that kind of fields. At one time, the very few University Malaya, there were definitely more boys in the maths department. The maths department. Then there are more boys, but that has changed. And even the engineering faculty at one time, there were more boys than girls, but that has changed also. So things have changed. So it's quite interesting. But still, I think in the IT sector, I think the males dominate still, despite the population being equal, and despite the fact that the whole university, there are maybe more girls in the university than boys. And maybe yet in the department areas like robotics, artificial intelligence, that kind of field is rather new in the universities. The males seem to dominate. For example, I don't know whether it's all universities or maybe some. An example, and you found otherwise. That's interesting. So this is where you bring in the other studies to support your finding, or it can be in the preschool, something you found about teaching mathematics, teaching reading, teaching language. Okay, teaching some maybe science, certain concepts in science in preschool, whereas you found in Malaysia different from what they found in Britain or New Zealand or Canada or even in India or the Philippines, that kind of thing. So this is where you bring it. Okay, that's for your discussion. So look at I've given you some tips there, how to write the discussion. What did your findings mean? What accounts for these results? Okay, why are they significant? The findings you had. Okay, so you look at it and then you think. Then the third section is just a recommendation. Okay, just recommend. And recommendation, just briefly only. Remember, you've done a small study. You can recommend. Usually, when we recommend a few things. So for example, we recommend for practice, something that other teachers should do, something the administrator can do, or something parents can do. It's a practice. Your findings can improve practice. Another thing is that your findings can can be a policy. It has recommendations for policy. Maybe the school, by looking at your finding, maybe the school can introduce this as a policy. Okay, you can stretch it further. The government can introduce a policy also. Okay, if your finding is very significant. The third one, you're contributing obviously to theory. Okay, you're contributing to theory. They're contributing to the a better understanding of theory. The theory is, for example, uh, girls. Maybe the theory is that girls shy away from the newer disciplines like robotics, artificial intelligence, for example. That's a theory. Then you found opposite of that theory, so you're contributing to the theory. Okay. For example, if you're doing in school, you're using Piaget's theories for cognitive development. You did some experiments with preschoolers, and you found that your theory supports Piaget's theory, that children at a certain age cannot do certain function. Logical thinking, abstract thinking comes at a certain age. You're supporting Piaget's theory. Okay, so that is the theory. Some and then a little bit for the you can tell a little bit, a few lines, recommendation for future research, a little bit like that. So that is the three sections of chapter 5. A small summary. The main part of chapter 5 is discussion of finding. That becomes the bulk. And at the end, do a little bit of recommendation. Questions? Uh, mm, you said, is it sort of a conclusion? You mean chapter 4? Yeah, kind of conclusion. Chapter 4, you can. Small conclusion for chapter 4. Okay. So this one, 3 section. Questions? How come you all are so quiet today? I don't get much feedback. Anybody want to say anything? So many of you in class. Or you just switch it on and you've gone somewhere. Uh, when you have silence, it's terrible. Not started this part. Okay, never mind. It's all right. But you can, yeah, this one will come after you've collected the data. Correct. I agree. Maybe most of you are already in the first 3 stages of your project paper. Maybe you're developing the instrument, doing the review of literature. Yeah, possible. But do you want to comment on it? Anything you want to comment? You don't have to relate it to your study. General comments about the 2 chapters. I don't have anything more to say. It's already 2:40 now. Maybe we stop at 3 o'clock. Supposed to go till what time? 3:30. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Okay. I've not started the project paper. Okay. Fourth, but in fourth matter, but I'm here to begin. Okay. You're just getting a feel of it. Sure. Fair enough. Okay. Okay. You understand what to do. Good. Good. Because remember, in the Masters of Education, I we are very interesting. We don't have uh, like a supervisor assigned to you. I'm trying to make this. That's why I have my website and I have the handbook, and then we have these sessions, what I'm doing, and then you have this recorded. So you, in a way, can go ahead and do it alone on your own. And we found that your works are very good. I tell you, I've been in this business. I've read thousands of project papers, masters, PhD theses, and all that. Sometimes I even get so angry with my PhD student. I've got about 20 over PhD students. Some of your project papers, I used to tell them, my Masters of Education project paper is 6 credits only. 6 credits is better than some of your PhD work. Actually, I get very angry with their. Sometimes I tell them, still they don't get it. They have a master's degree, and then oh, the trouble is they don't read. What's their problem? Their research methodology is very weak. I'm very confident with with the Masters of Education. Your research methodology is strong because of the 3 papers you have done. You have done ESM 641, and then that is the research methods in education. You've done qualitative research methods, and you've done the third one, statistics. These 3 papers give you a very good grounding, I believe, in research. So when it gives you that grounding, you can go back to it. Just now, I had a class on your research methods this morning. So I told them, keep all those notes because when you come to the research paper, that module, keep it. Don't, as I always make a joke, that don't sell it to the paper lama guy who comes to your neighborhood. Keep it and then use it, and then you can use it for a project paper. So we are very confident. We have run this. I think coordinator Mrs. Lady also feels the same, that your works are good, and if you missed out anything, we send it back to you to redo. While evaluating, the only thing I got to warn you: please do not plagiarize. Okay, I know nowadays it's so easy to plagiarize. That's why you have to run your project paper to turn it in. We don't mark your project paper until you send your turn it in report. It must be 20% and less, if possible. And take away the references and all that. Don't include references. Don't include the appendix and all that. Just the chapter 1 to chapter 5. And I have, sadly, I have kind of caught students who plagiarize. They take it from somebody else's project paper, somebody else's even thesis, and call it their own. I even found one. I don't know. I I looked at it, and then suddenly I found that the sample is somewhere in Wisconsin, United States. Then I said, "Have you been to America?" No. How did you get this sample from Wisconsin? So obviously it's plagiarized. So I told the person, you can get an F for this, but we are very kind. We send it back to you and redo the whole thing. I send it back and redo the whole thing. So it happens, but very few of students do that. I don't know whether it's in desperation to meet the convocation deadline or something like that. So please do not take somebody else's. There's a lot on the internet. I tell you openly, it's a massive amount of projects on the internet which one could easily copy and paste or something like that. You can change the sample here and there and all that, call it, and as though you did the sample in somewhere in Subang Jaya or somewhere in Segamat, but actually it was done somewhere in New Zealand. So people have done that. So be careful. That's why it's not worth it. I mean, it's a small project. Why do you have to plagiarize it? It's only how many words? 12,000, 14,000 words, and I think it's no reason to plagiarize. You can do it within your own setting. Use the sample within your own workplace, the kind of thing. Somebody said, uh, I believe following up that will lead to a clear path. Yes, okay. Follow closely the handbook and my website. Sometimes slight differences within my website and this thing. You figure out and you follow closely. Is there possibility to create a new theory out of the project paper? Uh, yeah, possible. Um, a new theory, some new insight, which some students have developed it into a practice in their workplace. Like somebody develop a new way of teaching Mandarin using an old method from ancient China, and she said she's using it in a school. So it's interesting that the kind of thing it can happen. It gives you an insight into something. And some students, I think, are pursuing a PhD based on their project paper. They want to continue with it. But it's a very small exercise, the project paper. It's very, very small, sixth grade. It's like doing two assignments, just like you did for your other papers. It's about that, two, like doing an additional two papers. I know some universities are getting rid of the project paper and asking students to do two additional papers, 3 credits, 3 credits. We were not keen on that. We said that at the end of the day, how often do we really do research? So at least I want the Masters of Education student leave the program having done having done a small piece of research and gone through the process. It's not the product that is of importance, the process. That means you went to chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, collected data, that kind of thing. And that process is what I want you to carry to your workplace, to your future. You may or may not continue with research. You never know. In the workplace you might be involved in doing research. I think it's good to do research. And you have it all in front of you. If you're a teacher, all your students in front of you, you can do action research to get immediate feedback on your teaching and learning, that kind of thing. So we are hoping that and then also the other thing is, which is so very important, is developing the research thinking skills, thinking like a researcher, so that even you don't do research, when you see people claiming to do research, when people saying that males are something you see on the internet, something you see on social media, so you become a critical thinker because you have a research skills. You question you question, for example, the sample size, you question the instrument used. Okay, you question the type of people who included in the sample and the credibility of the person conducting the study. So you become critical of it, which is good, because there's going to be a lot of people claiming research says this is it. Research says very dangerous when they say research. People tend to believe, because it's research, and people tell lies through research. So there's a lot of fake research also. From there, they claim, especially in the business world, very scary, claiming that a product A is better than product B. Research says product A is better than product B, especially now in the area of health. It's $1 billion. Somebody call it, people do call it, it's been going around for decades. Health quackery. Everybody claiming this one will make you go slimmer, this one will make you younger, this one will fight diabetes, this one will fight heart pressure, all kinds of things, and they're all coming from Malaysia sometimes. If you go to the factory where they produce this kind of thing, you get worried. And they say research says this particular juice you take is very good for you. This particular thing is good for you. So you get confused as a consumer. Is it true? If he says research, how did he do it? Did he compare with XYZ and that kind of thing? So you become critical. So you look at the experimental research, which we have discussed. That is the only method that measures effectiveness. It's used in medicine. Okay, it's used in medicine. It's using the pharmacy industry. Everything uses the experiment method. Show me, is it effective? You say this is very good for heart disease. Is it effective? So they have to do experiments, okay, to claim that it is better than the older drug, for example. So you become critical, a better critical thinker. Okay, you ask a question here. Must my project be the same points? No, no, you don't have to follow the rubrics. The rubrics are rough thing as the 5 chapters. As long you follow the 5 chapters, you can change the arrangement. Okay, you must cover. Okay, you must explain your sample. You must explain your instrument in chapter 3. Okay, chapter 2, you must have a review literature. Chapter 1 must have the research questions. You must have a bit of the objectives, the limitations, sorry, significance of study, and the other one is the limitations of study, all must be there. So as long those main topics are there, the sequencing can vary. But the 5 chapters sequencing you have to follow. Okay? Can change the arrangement. Yes, you can. I agree with you. It can change the flow of the ideas can change the arrangement. Yes, it does. Especially in qualitative research. They don't want to follow the method for quantitative research. You can have your own. Sometimes qualitative research, they don't like the word research questions also. Sometimes they only one research question, because there is a kind of qualitative research whereby you go in with very broad idea of what you want. It's called grounded theory, whereby from the data you sit down there and observe, interview, collect documents. Qualitative, you do that. You collect documents from the site you're studying, then you interview the people there, you observe. From there comes up a kind of theory. They call it grounded theory. So you go with an open mind. You have a very broad idea, and then the thing comes out from the ground. It's like a miracle. It comes out. So qualitative research has that ability. So some researchers don't want to go with detail because they find it a bit restrictive. They go with a broad question, broad. Sometimes the title, they go with the title, they go into the field, and it comes out. So that's exciting. They call it grounded theory method. Okay. Okay, somebody asked limitation. Limitation usually, when you do a study, sometimes limitation can be time. You have because you have a short period of time, limitation due to resources. Okay. Sometimes you cannot randomize. Okay, because the school doesn't allow. That's a limitation. So you resort to quasi-experimental, and you take in-tech classes. Okay, class A, class B. It's a limitation. So every research will have limitation because you cannot reach out to a bigger sample, so you get confined. But limitation does not mean your research is weak. Okay, it's good to tell the reader, I worked within the following limitation. Okay, you will confine yourself to a limitation. So, it's open. You look at the examples given on my website, I give you a few, and you look at the handbook, it's given a few. No need to share screen. You can send it to any one of us. Your first part of what you have done. Usually, we allow you to go on your own. Don't have to be dependent on us, and you'll be okay if you follow the things. Okay. And then people ask, give me samples of other people's work. We don't want to give you that. I don't want you to be influenced by other people's structure. It's better you get influenced by other people's research from the review of literature. Don't look at your earlier classmate, the structure, the way, because I've seen that each has got its own way of writing. You've got your own uniqueness. So I don't want you to be that culture of looking at other people, and then there's a tendency for you to copy, to look at what others, and then you feel insecure yourself because, oh, he's done that, I so must do. That person did that, I so must do. No, I would rather you go open-minded, follow our structure, you're okay. Okay, so far we have already graduated 1,000, over more than 1,000 master education students, 1,002, I think, 1,003. And most of you have done quite well in the project papers. So don't worry. Only we send back. The moment you don't come to the level, we send it back to you to look at it. We comment on it, and then you will redo a little bit here and there and then bring it back. And it's okay usually. I don't want this project paper to be a stumbling block. In many master's program, after they finish the coursework, the student disappears. The project paper, doing the project. I say, why are you wasting so much time on the project paper? Okay? So we don't want that. Such a waste. You have already done so many courses. Actually, what courses you have done is a lot already. 9 plus 2, 11 courses you have done. Many master's programs in other countries are sometimes only eight subjects in there. Some of the British masters I've seen, they got near about 8 modules, 8 to 9 modules. So I think I know we're a little bit, we our program is more courses, partly because of the 40 credits. We are confined to the 40 credits. So to meet MQA requirements, so we had to have that nine core plus 2 specializations, and then now the project paper. I think when you complete our program, you are kind of ready if you want to continue with your doctoral program, because you have the foundations. You have the foundation in theory. Your 9 papers gives you the foundations in education, stretching from psychology, sociology, philosophy. You have done testing and evaluation. You have done curriculum. Okay, you've done one course on technology. So the 9 courses gives you a very good grounding on the foundations of education. So now you can take off. The 2 papers you've done in your specialization, we don't claim to have much depth. We cannot claim to much depth, but at least it gives you the starting point, introduction. If you have done early childhood, you got 2 papers. From there, you can take off. You've done management, the 2 papers you can take off from there. So that is where you can take off from those 2 papers. So you kind of this thing, and we're going to introduce a doctor of education, hopefully by May, doctor of education, and then where you do coursework plus a thesis. So it's called an EDD. It's very popular in America. It's unlike the PhD. The PhD is fully thesis. So this one is a combination. It's good for practitioners. We call it scholar practitioners. If you're a scholar and a practitioner. So I'm trying to introduce design thinking in your thesis when you develop design. I think that's a future there where when you develop, like somebody asked whether can I get a theory out of it. Design thinking is good in the sense that you have a problem, but the problem is to solve a problem. So you look at the literature and then you look from the theories. Based on the theories, you develop a solution towards the problem. Then you test the solution. And that's design thinking. It's very, very good. And it's getting very popular now in all kinds of discipline because that is where innovation comes in. Okay, you say a problem. Oh, why are students not interested? Why are my weak students very weak in English, in weak in mathematics? That's an issue. Why are teachers facing this problem? Okay, you identify lots of problems in the education environment. You're a trainer. Why are adult learners struggling with something, something? Then you look at the literature, the theories underlying it, explaining the phenomena, and then you come up with a solution. It can be a teaching method or something, a solution, and then you test it. It's slightly different from your thesis, like what you are doing. It's slightly different. This one is like the backwards, inductively. You're approaching the problem and there's a very nice. The first phase is called empathy, whereby people you empathize with the person with the problem. Okay, for example, the teachers are getting burnt out. Okay, teachers are struggling with online learning. Okay, that is an issue. So you empathize with the teachers, and then you find a solution to their problem. And I think in education, we have got abundant amount of research, lots of research, but unfortunately, this research doesn't go to the classroom. It's very sad. And I found out, guess which discipline that research goes in. A lot of research we do in education, in psychology, in sociology. In the United States, the the sector that makes use of this research, especially, is the military, especially in the area of learning. So the research that is coming out on learning, on how humans learn, they have taken it and made it into a solution for training the army. But unfortunately, we in education, not much of that. We are doing exactly the way we were taught. And John Dewey said in 1930, if we teach the way we were taught, we will never prepare students for the future, or something like that, he said. Okay? So we cannot say, yeah, the 3 modules should be read. Yeah. Please repeat. Why should I? If you have finished the masters, you check it out. Check in your transcript the three research methods and qualitative and statistics. So you should know. Okay. Now, this is the thing. We unfortunately research doesn't reach the classroom, which is rather sad. So much of work done. Look at what you all are doing now. Many of your ideas in your project paper can be brought to the classroom. And I found, so what I'm planning to do is that I'm hoping by this month or maybe next month, starting a seminar, doing a 1 day seminar on early childhood, take all the master students, master of education, our students, who have done research on early childhood, who specialize in early childhood, look at their research and select a few, or quite a few I'll select, and ask them to present in a seminar online. So that is the way, at least that research findings can go to the practitioners. There are thousands of teachers in preschool in this country. So I think they can listen how to teach maths, how to teach reading, how to control students who are, socio-emotional development of children, how to handle difficult children, and so on and so forth. They come up with some very, very good ideas. There are quite a few of the master students have done on early childhood online learning. Very interesting. How did they do online learning with kindergartens? So that's a challenge. They can present their findings It'll be very good. Some of you all, I think I can include it also. So that's an example. Then maybe we'll do another one on teaching English second language, then another one on psychology, curriculum, different fields, because it's sad that all these your studies have been done, they're all lying in some hard disk somewhere. Okay, then people don't get access to it, and people nowadays don't go library. So either I put it online, but it requires a lot of put it online, or you present the findings, and you all should be encouraged to publish it. Publish your project paper if you can. Okay, see if you can look at the how you want to this thing. If you see it's nice, publish it. I've recommended a lot of your students to publish their project paper. Okay, any more questions? Seems to be nothing. Okay, then I'll stop here until the next class. If you have anything to send to me email, and this lady, send it to her. But we will look at it. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye.